Welcome to today's Explainer. We're diving into something truly fascinating today. We're unpacking the source material for what is basically described as a divine blueprint. It's literally a roadmap for relationship success, inner peace, and building a truly beautiful life. Now, whether you're deeply familiar with these texts or you're just hearing about these concepts for the very first time, the structured steps we're going to walk through today offer some absolutely incredible insights into human nature and how we connect with each other. So let's just jump right in.
I want to start by throwing a really massive, universal question right back at you. What is the secret to a beautiful life? Like, if I asked you to answer that right this very second, what would you say? It's kind of the ultimate question, isn't it? It's this giant puzzle that every single one of us is out there trying to solve every single day, and, usually through a whole lot of trial, error, and honestly, a bit of heartache.
And there's a really stark contrast in how we try to answer it. Society is constantly shouting its answers at us, right? We're told the secret is, stacking up wealth, grinding for career success, or just finding endless comfort. But the source material we're looking at today presents what it calls the creator's answer. And the whole premise here is that the one who actually created life, the one who truly knows our hearts and our struggles, points us completely away from all that material stuff. Instead, it points us directly toward deep connection and a profound sense of purpose.
Which brings us to the foundational text for this entire blueprint. The source points us directly to verse 90 of Sutta An-Nahl. It reads, "Indeed, Allah commands justice, grace, as well as generosity to close relatives." The text sets up this single, incredibly powerful verse as the ultimate roadmap. It's presented as this transformative blueprint that, if we actually take it seriously and live by it, has the power to completely revitalize our homes, our everyday relationships, and our own hearts.
Okay, so let's actually break down what this blueprint looks like in practice, starting with that very first command, justice. Now, the source material's definition of justice isn't about, gavels and legal courts. It starts with being just with the Creator. It's asking you to recognize that every breath you take, every hurdle you've survived, is a profound blessing. And the logic here is just beautiful. When you really internalize those immense blessings, it naturally humbles you. And that humility, that is exactly what makes it so much easier to be fair in your everyday dealings. It cascades right down into your family life. It means you actually own up to your mistakes in a heated argument with your spouse, or you treat your kids and siblings with total fairness, even when emotions are running super high.
But the blueprint doesn't stop at just being fair. After justice comes grace. And the source redefines grace in a way that is deeply challenging for us today. Grace is choosing to be kind when someone else is being harsh. It's looking at a situation where you totally have the power, and frankly, the right to take revenge, and choosing to forgive instead. It's helping out a family member without expecting a single thank you in return. This is where we move from basic fairness into truly extraordinary character. We're talking about choosing to bite your tongue instead of bringing up that past mistake during a family disagreement, or just showing genuine, incredible patience when a relative lashes out.
And the absolutely crucial point here is how we frame this in our own minds. Because let's be real, modern society often paints grace or unconditional forgiveness as a weakness. People think, oh, you're just letting yourself get walked all over. But the text completely flips the script. It argues that choosing grace over retaliation is actually a sign of immense, undeniable strength. Seriously, holding back your own anger requires so much more actual power than just unleashing it.
And this brings us right to the people closest to us. Remember, the verse specifically commanded generosity to close relatives. So what is it that actually breaks families apart today? It is rarely these massive movie-style dramatic betrayals. Usually, it's just pride, it's ego, it's stubbornness. Literally the exact opposites of justice and grace. Just pause and think for a second about how many homes, maybe even ones you know personally, are currently fractured by these heavy, totally unnecessary emotional burdens. Just two people refusing to speak because their ego simply won't let them bend.
And here is where the source material gets beautifully practical about actually applying justice and grace in our everyday family interactions. The advice is so simple, but it is so powerful. The blessings we are desperately searching for are often hiding right in plain sight. It's about swallowing your pride and offering that apology, even if you feel like you were only, say, 10% wrong. That is a profound act of justice. Making a physical visit, doing some random act of kindness, or just picking up the phone to call a relative you've lost touch with. Those are profound acts of grace. It's about prioritizing the relationship over the need to be right. Now, the blueprint doesn't just give us a to-do list, it also sets up some very clear guardrails. The verse shifts to warn us against three things that actively destroy lives: indecency, wickedness, and aggression.
And the source notes a really important psychological truth here. Every major regret, every massive relational breakdown, it doesn't happen overnight. It always starts with just one small step, one little moment of crossing a line, one moment of ignoring these principles.
And to really get this, we need a total reframing of how we look at divine rules. A lot of times we look at forbidden things like aggression or indecency, and we feel like, I'm being restricted. I'm not allowed to express myself. But the text urges this massive shift in perspective. The Creator is not restricting us. He is protecting us. The core idea is that the one who actually designed the human heart knows the deep, lasting pain that these destructive actions will cause long before we have to go and learn it the hard way.
So this brings up a really critical question, one that kind of challenges all our basic expectations. Does a beautiful life mean a life completely without problems? Like, if we follow this blueprint, if we do the justice, the grace, the generosity thing, are we guaranteed smooth sailing? We almost always equate a perfect life with zero stress. But the source material is deeply realistic, and it tackles this expectation head-on.
The text perfectly illustrates this reality by pointing to the Prophet Muhammad. Even this figure, who is considered the absolute most beloved and righteous, faced overwhelming struggles. We're talking profound loss of loved ones, severe physical and emotional hardship, brutal rejection from his own community, and deep, deep sadness. Being on the right path absolutely did not insulate him from the harsh realities of human suffering. And yet, through all of it, he remained completely grateful, hopeful, and deeply connected.
And honestly, this is the core realization of our entire explainer today. We spend so much of our lives on this endless treadmill, running ourselves ragged, trying to create a life where problems just don't exist. But according to this divine blueprint, true happiness simply isn't found there. True happiness is about having the presence of Allah, that divine connection, smack in the middle of your problems. It's about having this unbreakable anchor when the storm inevitably rolls in. And despite those storms, there is an incredibly uplifting divine promise tucked into Surah An-Nahl, verse 97. It says, "Whoever does righteousness, we will surely grant them a good life." This is framed as the ultimate divine guarantee. And what's really beautiful is that the text explicitly states this applies equally to all believers, male or female. You follow the blueprint and the promise of a good life is totally secured. But we have to ask, what exactly is a good life? Because the promised good life might not be the richest life. You might not end up with the biggest house or bank account. And as we just saw, it definitely might not be the easiest life, but it will be a life filled with true contentment, deep inner peace, crystal clear purpose, and real blessings. The source material emphasizes that these are the true markers of a beautiful life. And let's be honest, these are things that money literally cannot buy.
So let's bring it all home. Here is your actionable summary. If you want that truly beautiful life, return to that divine connection. Make the active choice to live your daily life with justice and fairness. Fill your heart with grace, especially, and I mean especially, when the people around you are being difficult. And finally, just trust the Creator in every single situation, knowing that the one who designed your heart knows exactly what's going to bring it peace. We're gonna end on this somewhat provocative question, and I really want you to think about it. How will you apply this blueprint to your own family relationships today? Think about the very next interaction you're going to have with a parent, a sibling, or your spouse. Can you bring just a little more justice to how you view them? Can you summon the strength, the real strength, to show grace instead of ego? Are you going to be the one to finally make that phone call or offer that apology? Thank you so much for exploring this fascinating source material with me in today's explainer. I really hope this blueprint leaves you feeling empowered to start building a truly beautiful life, starting right now, right inside your own home.